What is a major scale? A scale is, strictly speaking, any set of musical notes ordered by pitch. A scale that goes up in pitch is an ascending scale, and a scale that goes down in pitch is a descending scale. In most classical music written between about 1650 and 1900, the melody and harmony of a musical work, or each section of one, is mostly based on the notes of a single scale. The particular scale we'll be talking about for now is the major scale, which consists of 7 notes going through one octave. We don't really count the repeated first note at the top as a different note. When you play a C major scale starting on C on the piano, it just so happens that the keys you use to play the notes are all white keys. This is the easiest way to find a major scale on the piano. Also, a major scale is one of the most common diatonic scales. Diatonic simply means something containing 7 different notes. And a major scale does indeed have 7 notes in it. The thing that differentiates all the types of diatonic scales, which can include major, minor, and several others, like Dorian, is where there are differences in spacing, or which keys we've skipped between some of the notes. Just going up and down the white keys, going from one C to the next C, will give you the correct spacing for a major scale, but let's learn more about why that is. The major scale uses every letter name between A and G exactly once, not including the top note that repeats the letter name we had at the beginning, but 1 octave higher. This will be super important to remember when we start using sharps and flats and have to decide which way to spell a given note, so we still have all 7 letter names in the scale. So here's the C major scale. Now, it may not look like we are skipping keys on the piano, but keep in mind that we also have the black keys. So we definitely are skipping some keys, the 5 black keys to be exact. Let's see what happens when we try to play a white key scale starting on D instead of C. Yeah, it sounds pretty different, doesn't it? That's because the keys we are skipping are in different places. Thus, we don't have a major scale with this distribution of skipped and not skipped keys. Most scales of 7 notes, like the C major scale we played and this other scale starting on D, are made up of mostly whole steps, meaning that we skip a key in between the notes we play. In both of these scales, we have only 2 instances of adjacent keys. In the scale on C, those adjacent keys are the 3rd and 4th notes, then the 7th and the 1st note when we get to the 1st note in the new octave. In the scale on D, they are between the 2nd and 3rd notes, and then again between the 6th and 7th notes. It sounds like a small thing, but where these half steps go really changes the way we hear the scale because the half steps tell us where our center is. Thus, a major scale must always go in whole steps, except with half steps between the 3rd and 4th notes and between the 7th and top notes. So what happens if we want to have a major scale but starting on a note other than C? Well, we have to use the black keys. Let's try building an actual major scale on D now. 1, 2, 3, half step here, 4, 5, 6, 7, half step here, up to the top. Notice that when making sure we skipped a key for all our whole steps, we ended up using 2 out of the 5 black keys. Those notes are F sharp and C sharp. We're using sharps here rather than flats, so every letter name shows up in the scale once and we don't have something like D, E, G flat, G, and so on.